Good Yontif, and welcome to Congregation Sherith Israel. I'm Rabbi Jessica Zimmerman Graf. Together with Cantor Toby Glauser, we welcome you to our beautiful sanctuary to hear the haunting melodies of Kol Nidre tonight. Our congregants received in the mail a small machzor, a small prayer book for these high holy days, which will help you navigate through the services. We invite you to join us in the singing of the congregational melodies and to stand whenever you feel it helps to raise your spirit. We wish you a wonderful, happy, and healthy new year as we engage together in building community, even as we are distanced on this Yom Kippur. It is a privilege to invite Craig Etlin, Aaron Gordon, and their daughter Emmy Etlin to light our Yontif candles tonight. And we say hello to Asher Etlin, who is in New Orleans and has begun college. The Etlin-Gordon family has been at the center of this congregation for generations now, and we're so grateful for all that they do to ensure beautiful and safe space and community for us as we go into the future.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, b'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom HaKippurim.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Yom Kippur.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
It is traditional to hear the beautiful melody of Kol Nidre 3 times on this evening. We've had the privilege to hear Jonathan Dimmick play it first, and then Alex Kelly from our congregation play on the cello. And now we will hear these haunting words as we ask God to forgive all of the vows that we made that we were unable to fulfill.
מיום כיפורים זה עד יום כיפורים בטרין ומבוטלין לא שרירים ולא קיימים
Let our speech be pure and our promises sincere. Let our spoken words, every vow and every oath, be honest and well-intentioned. Let our words cause no pain, bring no harm, and never lead to shame, distrust, or fear. And if, after honest effort, we are unable to fulfill a promise, a vow, or an oath, may we be released from its obligation and forgiven for our failure. Let our speech be pure and our promises sincere. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, yehi ratzon shenizke levirchotecha bishnat chameshet elafim ushva me'ot ushmonim va'achat. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5781. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. Now we turn to the Baruch Hu. It is traditional at this time in the service to stand, since we are not gathered together in the sanctuary for this holiday, but rather in our own homes. I invite you to raise your intention or to stand as you see fit to help you pray throughout our services.
Day and night are yours, creative spirit of the universe. The muted colors of twilight, the radiance of dawn. Yours are the spreading wings of light, the deepening shadows of darkness, the ever-changing drama. In the human heart, too, the struggle between darkness and light unfolds. From sunlit heights of generosity, the human heart sinks to the gloomy depths of selfishness. Although we fall, you give us the strength to rise again. Your call on those who hurt through word or deed to break free from wrongdoing and return to you. All who hear your call to goodness are embraced. All who reject emptiness and evil find acceptance from you. We come into your presence this night of Kol Nidre, aware that our shortcomings and weaknesses are many, yet encouraged by your promise of forgiveness, we choose freely the path of repentance, restoring wholeness to our lives and holiness to the world. Amen.
Whenever we come together as a community, we recite this prayer, the Micha Mocha, which recalls the freedom that was given to us as we miraculously crossed the Red Sea from a narrow place to a place of self-determination. It is this freedom that is at the core of the Jewish people's story, and it is this freedom that inspires us to work for the freedom of all people.
Micha Mocha Sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Samech novim berofecho hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol.
Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch lived in the 19th century in Germany. Near the end of his life, he asked his students to take him to Switzerland. Surprised, they inquired why he would want to travel to Switzerland. "Soon I will stand before God," he told them, "and I will have to answer many questions. What will I say when God asks me, 'Did you see my Alps?'" I read this story recently and was transported back nearly 3 decades to an accidental trip I took to the Alps when I was studying abroad. For half of my junior year of college, I lived with a family in Italy. During a school break, I decided to go to a place where I could hike. With my very limited Italian skills, I got on a train at the terminal in Florence and watched out the window as the countryside flew by. We stopped a few times, always continuing on, and then the train came to a very noisy halt. There was a lot of clattering and clanging and an announcement in a language I didn't understand. Then we started moving again, but we were going backwards. Turns out the train split in half there. The half I was on was not going where I had intended. My half was headed to Zurich. Before I knew it, Swiss border guards were asking for my passport. I got off the train in Interlaken. It was still early in the day, and I thought I'd hike before I figured out where to go. With a small pack on my back, I followed an arrow into the woods. In hindsight, it seems a little crazy, but it turned out to be quite an adventure. On the trail, I met a woman who rented out a room in her home. Since it was a holiday weekend and I had no place to stay, she offered to host me and include meals. Remembering the childhood tale about Hansel and Gretel, I paused and then said yes. It turns out she was a retired lady and lived in a very simple wooden house with the most beautiful view I've ever seen. Her little Swiss chalet, sparsely furnished, was surrounded by tulips and hung over a river nestled in the Alps. She sent me out for a walk as she prepared fondue for us to eat. I wandered a bit, unable to believe my eyes. I remember sitting in a meadow nearby, just staring and staring at the flowers, the sheep, and the other little wooden homes in that hidden paradise. I flashed back to this chance encounter of so many years ago as I read the story of Rabbi Hirsch's interest in seeing the Alps before he died. The surprising request he made of his disciples shocked them, but it didn't come out of nowhere. In fact, Rabbi Hirsch's desire to see the Alps comes from the Talmud. The Talmud mentions Switzerland, you ask? Well, not exactly. Let me explain. In Tractate Kedushin in the Jerusalem Talmud, we learn, Reb Chizkiah said in the name of Rav, you will one day give reckoning kol ma shera'ita einav velo achal, for everything your eyes saw, which although permissible, you did not savor. In other words, the Talmud instructs us that every permissible thing in the world is ours to experience fully, and we are obligated to do that. The verb achal often means to eat, but in this context, it's more like to consume, to fully take in, to appreciate, and to enjoy. Did you know that this is a Jewish instruction? Often we think of Judaism as a practical religion, one which encourages putting limits on things. There are strict guidelines about what to eat and what not to eat, what activities are permissible on Shabbat, what kinds of business practices are ethical. Our tradition gives us clear rules about how to treat others and how to repair the world. However, we are not a tradition of asceticism by any means. Quite the opposite. Within the boundaries established for us, which help us honor and respect the earth and all of its inhabitants, we are instructed to savor and delight in life's opportunities. Rabbi B'nai Lappi, a contemporary rabbi, wrote an article entitled, "Did You See My Alps?" and other questions were asked in heaven. In the article, she invites us to imagine a God who doesn't just want us to follow the rules, but one who wants us to drink deeply from the wells of possibility, beauty, wonder, and potential good that make up our world. 2,000 years ago, our wise sages distinguished Judaism from other worldviews by giving us both an ethical code and the instruction to delight in the world. In her article, Rabbi Lappi gives us a contemporary way to view this passage from the Talmud. She writes, "At the end of our lives, we will have to answer for all that we experienced only superficially, but did not deeply absorb, for all the human experiences beautiful and painful, challenging and demanding, inviting and intriguing, that we did not let in fully or pay deep attention to, that did not occupy our inner being. We will all be called to account for all the good in the world that we might have enjoyed but did not, the people, the places, the books, the music, the art, the Alps." I can't imagine a better instruction for us on this day. For months now, we have been consumed by fear and anxiety as a pandemic has swept the world. We have focused on survival and been isolated from each other. What does Judaism teach us that pertains to this experience? What guidance can our ancient texts provide? Tomorrow morning, we will read from Parshat Nitzavim, as we do every year on Yom Kippur. In this powerful Torah portion, God tells all humanity, Natati lefanecha habracha vehaklala, hachayim vehamavet. I have set before you blessing and curse, life and death. For the last 6 months, we have found ourselves right in the middle of blessing and curse, life and death. But the Torah goes on. And in the very next line, God instructs us, B'charta b'chayim lama'an tichye ata v'zarecha. Choose life so that you will be truly alive. Engage in life in all of the spaces between blessing and curse, and savor it, explore it, experience it in all its realities. And delight in the opportunity to do that because you are alive. Share it with fellow travelers along the road, and you will meet extraordinary people. In many ways, travel is a good metaphor for life. We make plans and change them, intrigued by something along the way that wasn't on the itinerary. Or the train splits in half and goes somewhere unexpected. We aim for destinations only to find ourselves somewhere else. Sometimes we discover something wonderful we would have missed if we had stuck to the original plan. Like traveling on any road, sometimes the journey feels too long, or too hot, or the road feels too bumpy. And sometimes the views are extraordinary, and you can barely believe your eyes. The travel writer and guide Rick Steves has been publishing articles during the pandemic. I mentioned him in one of my Friday missives a few months ago. Normally, he's known for his witty observations of small details about the destinations he visits. He teaches other people how to love exploring faraway places. But in his writing of these last 6 months, he's turned his passion for travel to everything that he's seeing and exploring without ever going far from home. In August, he published an article in the Atlantic magazine called, "I'm Traveling Even Though I'm Stuck at Home." He wrote, "I've realized that traveling isn't just a pastime, it's a mindset. A mindset which could inspire us all." As we begin a new year and set new intentions for ourselves, I encourage us to take the words of our sages to heart. They feel particularly relevant and wise at this time. You will one day give reckoning for everything your eyes saw, which, although permissible, you did not savor. Perhaps it is time to readjust our focus. Perhaps this pandemic, as it has forced us to stop life as we knew it, will provide us the opportunity to reset our goals and to redefine our purpose. Judaism instructs us to take life seriously and to feel great joy. According to the Talmud, one day, each of us will be asked to explain why there was joy and delight and life that we chose not to engage. In honor of new beginnings and a new year, in honor of all that is inspired by our existence in the space between blessing and curse, life and death, I share with you a poem by Mary Oliver. Her poem, "The Summer Day," invites us to reimagine the future and to recognize the importance of this moment on our journey. The summer day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? One day God will ask you, what did you not savor of all the things I created? The answer to that question is not about the Alps, it's about the way you look at everything in the world. Have you allowed yourself to experience awe? Will you sit and watch the waves hit the shore over and over again and see the majesty in our universe? Will you allow yourself to fall deeply in love with all of the imperfections of another person? Will you open your heart and see the extraordinary in the ordinary? The possibility exists everywhere. What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Gamar Chatima Tova, may each of us be inscribed for blessing in the new year. We come to the part of our service now known as the Vidui. It is the place in our service where we confess our sins. We begin asking God to listen as we bare our souls. The Vidui contains the Ashamnu, an acrostic, beautiful litany of sins listed alphabetically. And we continue with Al-Chet. Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha. We say, God, in front of you, we confess these sins committed individually or communally.
Elohim אשמנו, בגדנו, גזלנו, דיברנו דופי. האבינו והרשנו זרנו חמסנו טפלנו שקר יעצנו רע כיזבנו לעצנו מרדנו ניאצנו שרנו אבינו פשענו צררנו כישינו עורף Yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai. Rashanu, Shichadnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Titanu. Yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for these sins, our God, we ask forgiveness. The ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through our words and our mouths. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for these sins, O God, we ask forgiveness. For the ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, and harm we have caused in your world through careless speech. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for these sins, O God, we ask forgiveness. For the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. Ve'al kulam Elohas lichot, salach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Who among us is blameless? Who shall say, I have not erred, I have not wronged or sinned? We abuse, we brutalize, we covet, we deceive, we enslave, we feud. We gossip, we humiliate, we injure, we judge unfairly. We kill, we lie, we manipulate, we neglect, we ostracize, we plagiarize, we quarrel, we rage, we shame, we turn away, we undermine, we vilify, we waste, we exploit the earth, we yearn too much for yesterday and too easily forget Zion. Our sins are an alphabet of woe. Help us, Holy One, to follow your ways of integrity, justice, and love. Teach us to seek forgiveness with humility and an open heart. Ve'al kulam Elohas lichot, salach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these wrongs, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. May there be refuge when night surrounds us, at sunrise, safe haven for your sake. All day our words rise from a sea of sorrow, and they break in waves of atonement till evening comes. May our yearnings rise above the shadows of dusk. May the searching of our souls reach you in the morning. All day our praise is before you. May it be acceptable. May it be received till evening comes.
תחנוננו מערב יבוא שוועתנו מבוקר
Hear our call, Adonai, our God. Show us compassion. Accept our prayer with love and goodwill. With hope, Adonai, we await you. Surely you, Adonai, our God, you will answer.
Adonai Adonai Elecha, Ashivenu Elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh Yameinu, וקבל ברחמים, ברחמים וברצון את
We arrive at this beautiful prayer in our service, Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu literally means our father, our parent, and Malkeinu, our ruler. We call out to God in the role both of parent and of ruler. A parent is someone close and accessible, someone we can talk to. A ruler is more distant and difficult to reach. And God serves in both of those roles in our lives, being close to us and also distant. As we hear these beautiful words of Avinu Malkeinu, we recognize that on this day, we call out to God and ask for God to be close to us and also to inspire us with awe. Avinu Malkeinu chanenu ve'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace for our deeds are wanting, save us through acts of justice, and love. We turn to the ark as we hear this beautiful melody.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chabol aleinu. Ve'al ol aleinu, ve'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kosmenu, Besefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Kadesh Aleinu. Kadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Aleinu v'Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Aleinu v'Aleinu, Yem banu ma'asim. Asay imanu, tzedakah
Good evening. I'm Lindsay Bronig, president of Congregation Sherith Israel. A year ago, on my first Kol Nidre as president, I introduced myself and told you a little of my Jewish journey. I talked about what I expected to focus on for the next year, and it was all about community building. We had no idea back then just how much we would need our community in 5780. In the Torah, the word hineni, here I am, threads through a number of the best-known stories, including in the story of Abraham almost sacrificing Isaac, and also the story of Moses in the burning bush. Hineni doesn't simply mean, I'm over here. It means, I am with you completely and at your service. The word and the depth of its meaning struck a chord with me the first time I heard it. When my children were babies, they slept upstairs, and I would often be downstairs while they napped. When they woke, often abruptly, loudly, and seemingly in a panic of cries, I would say as I ran up the stairs, Hineni, Hineni. There was something about the expression that made me feel like I was communicating something deeper to them than simply that I was on my way. This has been a Hineni year, a year to show up for each other, a year for the synagogue to be meaningfully present, even in dark, confusing, scary, isolating days. A year for all of us to continue supporting the synagogue, to invest in the maintenance of this community. The first half of the year was rather normal, if busy. I continued my practice of offering to meet with each new member. Our Circles subcommittee for our new Havarot program put together a pilot program of 2 groups of families with young children. We started planning our first, or at least first in a long time, fundraising gala, and we put a lot of thought into how to make it both financially successful and authentic. And of course, our biggest and most pressing task was finding a cantor who could continue the tradition of musical ruach that we had come to love about our services with Cantor Fromer. In Cantor Glauser, we have found not only an incredibly skilled musician whose sound and style gel so well with our own, but also a real mensch, who we are all going to genuinely enjoy getting to know. That was the first half of the year. Then COVID-19 hit, and our priorities immediately shifted. To first, doing our part to keep everyone healthy. Second, keeping our community together, even while apart. And third, the financial implications of COVID for our synagogue. Health and safety was the relatively easy part, even though it didn't seem that way at the time. We closed our building and canceled all in-person events about a week before the city mandated it. We first moved our services online, and then Torah study, studio, book club, committee meetings, everything. Keeping our community feeling together, even while apart and isolated, became our own internal metric of success during this era. I'm so proud of the way this congregation stepped up and into the void and said, Hineni, here I am. Clergy, staff, and volunteers touched base with each and every congregant, and the Hesed Committee has reached out to everyone over the age of 60 for a check-in during the month leading up to the high holidays. Our Friday night services are little beacons of joy each week, offering the opportunity not only for the familiar cadence of prayer and song, but also the ability to see each other in those little Zoom boxes and admire each other's challahs at the end of services. Rabbi Graff organized the medical series to leverage the expertise we have in our own community and give us an outlet for our insatiable desire for reliable information about COVID-19. Unable to gather in person to send off our beloved Cantor Fromer, we put together a personal and emotional virtual send-off. We all love this building, and it's wonderful to be here now. But even without being here physically, we have stuck together through this upside-down world. We have shown up on Zoom for each other, for simchas, for losses, and for those many, many committee and board meetings that keep this place, this community, moving along. We have answered the call. Hineni. And what about the financial worries? When we first started looking at our loss of rental income, the unemployment numbers, the likelihood that we wouldn't be able to hold our Gold Rush Gala, the fear that monthly contributions would dry up, our treasurer and assistant treasurer ran some worst-case projections of what this year might end up looking like financially. Those numbers were eye-popping. I'm very pleased to be able to say that the dire scenario we feared has not materialized. You are answering the call and responding to this moment. Hineni. While we are not where we hope to be financially at this point in the year, we are in much better shape than we feared we would be. We are close to where we usually are at this time of the year when it comes to monthly contributions, what we used to call dues. We are, of course, significantly under budget on other revenue lines, and while our expenses are lower right now, they aren't low enough to make up for the revenue shortfalls. The big push now is the annual fund. We have budgeted $300,000 for the annual fund, already a lofty goal. And now we are in the position of having shortfalls in other areas, which means that our real need is even higher than that. In any year, the annual fund is an important bridge between monthly contributions and our budget. This year, it is essential. Please give generously, whatever that means to you. In the midst of all this mishigas and anxiety, and while we are all personally figuring out how to do life in this new COVID, socially distanced, masked up world, I'm very proud to say that your Board of Trustees and the committees that support the board have kept their collective eyes on the future. The membership committee has been focusing on what brings people to Sherith Israel and what keeps them engaged, and extrapolating to try to help more members have this sense of engagement. The board has spent countless hours thinking through the most effective ways to engage young families and really build that community. And I'm excited that I'll likely be able to tell you more about that in the coming months. Rabbi Graff has continued to build the young adults community and looks forward to bringing Cantor Glauser into those efforts. I have continued meeting with new members, and we are making strides toward restarting the Nascent Circles program, which we temporarily paused in the spring. We need each other right now. The synagogue is here for you to help you navigate difficult times and celebrate the good ones. To admire the challah you show at the end of Zoom services on Friday night. To entertain and teach your children at studio while you read the newspaper on Sunday morning. Hineni. This hasn't been the 12 months I expected, and I've given up having too many expectations about what is to come between now and this time next year. All I can say with confidence is that the leadership team will continue working hard to make this welcoming, warm, wonderful synagogue a place that people want to join and want to stay. I will venture one hope. Next year in the sanctuary. Shana Tova. May those of you who fast have an easy fast, and may you break that fast with something delicious. I'm having pumpkin pie.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום
At this time in our service, we remember those whose lives came before ours and who continue to inspire us. Our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days. And those who died at this season in years past, our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. Zichronam livracha. May the memory of the righteous always be a blessing. We join together as one community in words of Kaddish Yatom as we thank God for these lives. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam U'amei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal, Shemei D'Kudsha Brichu. La'ela U'la'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechemata Da'amiran Be'alma Ve'imru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chaim, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru, Amen.
Hello there, I'm Gordon Gladstone, the Executive Director of Congregation Sherith Israel. I hope you found these services to be meaningful and uplifting. We've certainly enjoyed creating them. To our 500-member households, we say thank you. Your support makes this possible. To learn more about the upcoming programs, events, and classes for the high holidays and beyond, visit us, sherithisrael.org. If you're a guest and looking for a synagogue, let me invite you to consider membership at Congregation Sherith Israel. You can also learn about that on our website. Shana Tova U'Mituka. May this be a good and sweet new year. Thank you.
Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai 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 dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai.
We wish for our community a Gemar Chatima Tova. May each of us be inscribed for blessing and good health and life in the book of life.